This is GoodSinse approval with delegation.
Yes, hi, I'm Daniel Peters. I'm the owner of GoodSinse LLC.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we did have one question from the staff on this. And we did receive 2 objections to the license, which are in your packet. The staff's question regarding the applicant's statement at page 15 of MJ01 was that because of the way he worded that, they were concerned that the implication was that he would only use metric under certain circumstances and not at all times when metric is required because of the way he worded that statement. So they asked that I point that out to you. I'm gonna find that application document.
Mr. Chairman, what was the, I'm looking on page 15, 01, and it says that, we use record the type amount, and that's just on the preparation package, secure question. We use record the type amount, weight, marijuana product being transported. Is that the nature of the concern about
Let me
metric?
see if I
think
can
it's
find it.
from transferring from, if he's not transferring product to another facility and transferring in-house to his own retail, I think is what the question was.
Right, he's applied for a retail, and so he doesn't indicate that he's gonna use metric to track transfers to his own retail facility, only when he's transporting out of
Provided
his
you use
facility.
metric?
Yes, always.
Transfer it within
Yes.
your own?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna save that over for the retail application.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you're Mr.
Peters.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm looking here at these letters of objection that I'm sure you've read. How far away is your facility from these other locations, these other facilities that are referenced in these objection letters?
Well, let's see here. From the training center of the laborers union, 300 feet. And then from the church, it is 280. And yeah, it's that's correct. It's 280 to the north part of our building. 900 to the church. Yeah, 900 to the church. Oh, there it is, sorry, yeah. 6, yeah, okay, corner of the door, yeah, I had the wrong piece. 500 to the training center, 680 to the union hall itself, and 900 to the church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scared me for a minute.
I'm sorry.
Scared me there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the way you're looking at me is
Right. Well, you understand why. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
It's a violation of our regulations.
Yes. No, it's within.
What are those businesses again?
One is the laborers union hall, and the other is Lutheran Zion.
Laborers Training Center.
Training center.
What's the
yeah.
train, how far to the training center?
It was 300 from the corner of our building to.
And it's over 500 to the church.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, Mr. Chairman, that's why I was asking, because our regulations stipulate a 500-foot offset to a church. Sounds like you're greater than that.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, we have to give these objections due consideration, but.
No, we're probably done.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think we need a kind of an as-built, better site plan reference there that probably shows the distances on it as part of the delegation here on it. Looks like all we have is
forms have been turned into his office and for review or something. These are maps with all the uses around.
Okay, yeah, if that's in here, then I apologize.
No problem.
While you're, Ms. Mills, this Alaska Labor's Training Trust School, how does that play into the, does that fall within the definition of school or area where it would be prohibited within 500 feet?
It's hard to say. I can't say for sure. It doesn't look like it to me at this point. Let me look back at the regulations.
Have you had any conversations with either the laborers or the church?
No. No, but I have had a conversation with the Borough Planning Committee, and we verified that we were within the right proper distances, and there's some effort to say that we're violating federal law, but I think we all know we're violating federal law.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Milton can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the laborers are trying to stretch the definition of school. Any place of employment that trains employees under the age of 21 can make this argument, and the entire state would be effectively zoned out. I don't think that their protest meets the requirements we've set forth in the regulation. Again, Ms. Mills, correct me if I'm feeling incorrect.
I suspect that that's true. I just want to look at it for a few minutes because I'm not familiar with this particular training facility.
Thank you.
So all I'm going on is what they say here. So I'm going to look at the definition and the regulations and get back to you in just a couple of minutes.
And, Mr. Chair, if I could just clean the record up a little bit from Mr. Emmons' statement. It's not a protest, it's an objection, and there are two issues here. One objection would be this is a school, so it doesn't qualify, but generally, anyone can object to a marijuana establishment for any reason, and there's no requirement that it meet something. It's just a requirement that the board consider the objection, no matter what it is and what it's for, even if it doesn't violate any of the regulations. So I just want to make this clear.
Thank you for clarification.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I might have a little insight as my husband's the apprenticeship coordinator for the Alaska Labor Training School in Anchorage, and which is like the sister union to this one. And the training that they do at the school is for adults who are 18 years old. The youngest members that they have, I believe, are usually apprentices, but they have to be 18 to be apprentices, so.
I could tell the board that when we had the issue come up on the alcohol side of what was a school, we were really looking for a school district and a school district attorney to talk to us about that being a school. There's an exception on the alcohol side, and Ms. Mills can tell us if we managed to capture it on this side of college students not college or post-high school training not being a school. Given that, having said that though, we always encourage licensees to reach out to their neighbors and not start a license in a fight with their neighbors, and so it's a little discouraging that it's not talk to them at all, so.
Yeah, I don't think this is a school in the contemplation of the regulations, but again, as the director has reminded us, this is an objection, and so it's up to the board's discretion what exactly, how that will fit into their deliberations.
Thank you. Any comments on this particular, I think the one with the churches, I mean, it doesn't fall within our 500-foot rule. I understand that the federal law or the school safety zones, but that's not something in our regulations, so, we're not, I mean, we're only concerned about what is in our regulations, and I understand that there's a concern on that. But the other one for this training school, any comments or discussion on that?
I don't think there's any concern there.
Okay. Mr. Jones, what say you?
Not on that issue, I have a couple other questions.
Okay, all right.
I did just have one
Sure.
question, if I may, Mr. Peters, you're entirely indoor cultivation, right? Is there nothing outdoors? Okay, so I asked because there, hopefully then there will be no part of your operation would be visible from the adjacent property.
Street.
Are you gonna have a retail store also?
Eventually, yes.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Jones, go ahead.
Thank you. On, page, MJ4, page 2 of 8, it has some footage descriptions of the areas under cultivation, lockable storage closet. And the question was, that it talks about a lockable storage closet computers as being 6 by 9. And if you go up a couple of pages to the handwritten drawing, the area between the cultivation and the, I guess, eventual retail space, it says shared storage is 6 foot by 19 foot, but the grid says every square is 2 feet, and so it looks like it's closer to 6 by 12. So could they clarify, am I looking at the same space when it talks about a storage closet? Am I looking at that shared storage 6 by 19?
No, that is shared storage for our product that will be kept. The office closet that you're referring to is behind the cultivator and is one of the few, this lockable closet that's for only computer storage and files and office stuff of that nature. So that's
Okay,
separate.
but it's not shown on the diagram. It just shows ground floor cultivation, mezzanine,
Okay.
they show a bathroom that seems to be outside of the building, and, it's just not clear to me.
Right. The office, though it's not, it's around backside of the building, and it's not specifically a part of the cultivation. I'm gonna do a lot of my paperwork out of this office, and only the closet of it is specifically to house the computer equipment and all of the DVRs for our cameras and stuff. It may not be fully detailed, but I can produce that if we need to be.
I would recommend that we get a little bit better diagram, especially where those kinds of things are stored. I think that's important for our enforcement to know where they are. That's one of the reasons why we ask if they're gonna be on-site or off-site. And, so I think that's important. And then one other question I have, Mr. Chairman, if I can scroll up here quickly. It's NJ01, and it's page 519. Get to the right page here. And it's describe your policies and procedures for preventing diversion. And it says GoodSinse will be diligent with their customer base in ensuring substance abusers are not served cannabis products. No drug dealers will have no business relationship with GoodSinse. The products known to be sold after being retailed from GoodSinse shall be reported to local law enforcement authorities. That seems a real inappropriate description of diversion when we're talking about a cultivation facility. And so maybe they can better describe to us some of the diversion and preventing diversion from their cultivation. Because this is much more related to the potential retail that we haven't considered at all yet.
True, that is kind of a catch-all to encompass the retail as well as the cultivation. I believe that we've got the policy in line to have contracts with our workers, and we're gonna have recorded video footage of all of areas that we're storing as well as processing any cannabis. So I really feel like we're gonna have all the measures in place to keep that diversion from happening in-house.
Thank you. And then the next box down says signage up front regarding loitering. Parking will be limited to 1 hour unless in consumption area. Again, this is the cultivation application, so I just think that needs a little bit more discussion
Okay, well, the parking lot that's proposed would be shared between the retail and the cultivator. Our employee parking is at the rears of that parking lot, and, so you're right, the loitering policy is mainly intended to cover when we do the retail, but it's definitely, not gonna be an issue. We're gonna be out there, we'll take care of any people that are hanging around if they were. Obviously, we don't want any traffic prior to opening the retail for security reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I just ask Mr. Jones, are you looking for a fix to that language through delegation? Are you satisfied with the response? Are you okay with it as is, or are we looking for a change in that?
I guess I'm happy with its oral explanation, but yes, I think I would like some clarification if it's part of the delegation.
Maybe just some addition that's,
Yes,
if and
addition
when a
to-
retail license is issued or something to that effect.
Yeah, something like
Okay.
that would be fine.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on page 5 of 19, it says that to describe your policy procedures for additional security. The building is going to be fenced?
Yes, sir, the front half of this fenced
The front
already.
half is fenced, so the customer part will be fenced in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it currently fenced?
It is.
And the, just looking at the diagram again for a second, and again, this is kind of why it's important to have site plan to show the fencing on there, so the employees will actually have to walk around, they park in the back lot, walk around, go through the fence gate to get in the front door of the facility?
No, once, inside the gate, they can park right up against the fence. The potential retail parking will be up against the building. So there's.
Right, but where's the fence, is what I'm saying, you
Oh,
said the
near
front of
the
the
road.
building, you said the front of the building is fenced.
Yeah, it's near the road. If you can see Davis Road on the, map that you have, I'm not sure if you can, but
You got a map there? I didn't find a map there.
well, just to let you know, it's right at the very front of the property as you're pulling in. You have to physically unlock the gate to come in.
I was gonna actually ask, if I could ask a couple questions. Mr. Peters, when did you send that?
Well, after I mentioned that, I think what I had done was sent these to the, planning department here and maybe not into AMCO. So if you
Yeah,
wanna
I
talk
just
to
checked with
them,
my staff,
should-
and I
would you
texted
like
my
me-
staff.
I could,
So we're good.
Do you mind just
submit them
emailing?
now if you wanna take a look.
Could you email them?
Oh, of course, yeah, of course.
Oh, great,
If you wanna have a look
Part of
now,
the-
just to clear it up. but-
Part of the delegation, we're gonna ask that those documents be provided.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, let's, go ahead and vote. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Springer?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
Mr. Schulte?
Yes.